battled injuries throughout his career in Denver, helped the Nuggets win a title in 2023. This past season averaged 18 points in 77 games. Jordan Clarkson plans on signing with the Knicks once he clears waivers. Agreed to a buyout with the Jazz on Monday. He averaged at least 15 points per game in 7 straight seasons. However, he played in a career-low 37 games this past season due to plantar fasciitis in his left foot. D'Angelo Russell agreed to a 2-year deal worth $13 million with the Mavs. The trade reunites Russell with Anthony Davis, who played with him in L.A. D'Lo averaged nearly 13 points, 6 assists per game last season with the Lakers and the Nets. Rockets have been busy. Free agent forward Dorian Finney-Smith agreed to a 4-year, $53 million deal. Clint Capella heading back to Houston on a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. Capella spent the first 6 years of his career in Houston before being traded to Atlanta. It adds to a busy offseason already for Houston, who traded for Kevin Durant, signed Jabari Smith to his 5-year, $122 million rookie extension on Sunday. The Grizzlies had a busy first day of free agency. Jaren Jackson Jr. expected to sign a 5-year, $240 million max extension with the team. That's according to an ESPN report. Jackson, a 2-time All-Star and former NBA Defensive Player of the Year. The team also signed Santi Aldama to a 3-year, $52.5 million deal. Aldama had a career high in points, rebounds, assists, and steals per game this season. Not done. Ty Jerome agreed to a 3-year, $28 million deal with the Grizzlies. Jerome had a breakout year for the Cavs, averaging 12.5 points and 3 assists per game off the bench. And for more, welcome in CBS Sports NBA writer Sam Quinn and CBS Sports basketball analyst Tim Doyle. Nuggets trade MPJ to the Nets for Cam Johnson. Sam, what's your reaction to this deal for Denver and Brooklyn?
Oh, I love it for both sides. This is about as consummate a win-win trade as you're going to see in any offseason. Brooklyn, it's obvious. They're just trying to take on a bad contract, get a draft pick for it. Nikola Jokic will be in his late 30s when this pick conveys in 2032. Looks like it'll be pretty valuable at that point. But the Nuggets don't care about what happens when they're after Nikola Jokic. They have the best player in the world right now. Their goal is to compete while he's still in his prime, and I think they've made a pretty significant upgrade here. Cam Johnson better on the ball than Michael Porter Jr. Both of them good shooters. But the big upgrade here is that they're going to unlock the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. They're going to add more talent in free agency now. They save about $18 million. They're going to pour that back into the roster, fix that bench.
Well, it's about making shots in the postseason, and Michael Porter Jr. in 7 games against OKC, because it was a 7-game series Denver took him to, he averaged 7 points and shot 25% from 3. Hakeem, you know this had to be tough for Denver. The Cronkies, the Missouri ties, Michael Porter Jr. is one of them. He was one of their favorites. But he was not getting it done, and at the end of the day, you know, this comes down to money, as Sam pointed out, and they're obviously saving some, as well as getting someone who's a proven shooter. 40% from 3, has made big shots in the postseason throughout his career, and I think he's an excellent fit. But the biggest thing is he gave Denver some flexibility to make some moves, because right now it's all about winning right now with the Joker.
Yeah, and it's all about winning right now for the Houston Rockets. Busy offseason, traded for Kevin Durant, kept Fred VanVleet. Jabari Smith agreed to a deal with Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella. Sam, clearly Houston going all in. How are you evaluating the moves they made here in the offseason and on the first day of free agency?
Yeah, they've had a great offseason so far, right? I think we have to start with Oklahoma City as the favorite in the West, but Houston is clearly number 2 now. They've replaced Dillon Brooks with Dorian Finney-Smith, got another really good 3-and-D wing. Kevin Durant speaks for himself, one of the greatest players of all time. They didn't need Clint Capella, but they had the money, so it's almost like, why not? You get a little bit of injury insurance against Steven Adams, who's older, who's had some injury issues in the past. Now you have 3 centers for 2 slots. Maybe you mix and match based on matchup. Maybe you play some of them together. I love what Houston's done so far. It's been an incredible day for them.
Tim, you also love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. Look, Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't even crack this starting 5. As I believe right now, when Fred VanVleet is your 4th best player on offense and maybe even your 5th best player, you have a legit squad. Houston needed a closer. They picked up one of the greatest scorers in the history of the NBA in Kevin Durant. You know, normally at the end of games, it was like, oh, Houston, we have a problem. We have no closer. They don't have a problem anymore, Gabe. They got Kevin Durant. They added to their bench. Right now, they are my favorite to win it all next year, and you're getting roughly 10-1 odds on the Houston Rockets.
Sam, just so you know, that really annoys Tim when news anchors do that. They go, well, this just in. We're here. Now, nobody really does that anymore, but they used to do it back in the day. This just it. They don't do it anymore. Staying in the state of Texas, Dallas adds D'Angelo Russell. Sam, what does this move mean for the Mavs here? Now they're going to get somebody to fill in while Kyrie Irving is recovering.
Yeah, they signed a substitute teacher, right? That's all they're trying to do. They're hoping Kyrie Irving can be back in February, March, be ready for the playoffs. D'Angelo Russell is a great regular season stopgap, somebody who can eat some innings for you, get some, help your offense stay afloat in the regular season while Kyrie's out. But then he goes to the bench when Kyrie's back. He's had so many playoff struggles that this is almost a relief to him now, right? He doesn't have to be relied upon to carry the offense in those high leverage moments in the playoffs. So it's a nice fit. I still have a lot of questions about that roster. It's very unbalanced. It's way too big. Not enough dribbling, not enough shooting. But they did about as well with the resources at their disposal as we could have reasonably expected.
D'Angelo Russell needs to take a screenshot of that full screen that he is up there with 3 Hall of Famers, because last year his year in Brooklyn was awful. There's no other way to say it. He shot a terrible percentage from the field. He shot an awful percentage from 3. And at this point in his career, I think that he's headed in the wrong direction. To Sam's point, they need somebody. Kyrie's hurt, so they have to have somebody to bring the ball up. He's making $6 million a year. We're living in a world where Luke Cornett is getting $11 million a year, $10 million a year, and D'Angelo Russell is getting almost half of that. So I've said it once and I've said it again. I need a Hard Knocks for the Dallas Mavericks. I need a Netflix. I need a behind the scenes. You're bringing D'Angelo Russell in. You have the #1 pick. Is Anthony Davis going to be healthy? What's Klay Thompson at this point in his career? What's the timetable for Kyrie Irving? The Mavericks are not real contenders in the Western Conference, but oh my goodness, there's so much drama around them. They are must-see TV.
Can you imagine what it would be like if, let's say they get all the way to the Western Conference Finals next season, Tim? I mean, they get Cooper Flag. I mean, they essentially get a redo getting Cooper Flag and now adding pieces around Kyrie and AD.
I don't know why they're not leaning into this. I think the storylines are amazing there. I think Cooper is going to be the next face of the NBA. So whether, they traded Luka or whatever, knew it, wink, wink with the NBA draft, they got Cooper Flag. So is this going to automatically just translate to a lot of wins? I don't really know. I think this could, Hakeem, be a disaster. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yeah, it could be. You got Kyrie Irving coming off a massive injury. You got Anthony Davis, who's never healthy. Klay Thompson is at the end of his career. This isn't like a paper. You actually have to play the games 5-on-5. That's why I think it's going to be so much must-see TV in Dallas.
Grizzlies are also trying to figure it out as we stay in the West. They had a very busy first day of free agency. Max extension for Jaren Jackson Jr., re-signed Santi Aldama, added Ty Jerome, John Morant on social media, happy to see his guys get paid. Sam, what'd you think about the moves that Memphis made here on Monday?
I like them, right? The idea of their offseason, they had 3 big contracts with Desmond Bane, John Morant, Jaren Jackson. They wanted to reconfigure their books in such a way that they had 2 expensive players. They have Morant, they have Jaren Jackson, but they do such a good job of drafting and developing young players that they felt like they could afford to let Bane go, rebuild around him, recreate him in the aggregate offensively. Ty Jerome was probably the best 6 man in the NBA last year. He didn't win the award because he didn't play enough minutes. I think that's going to be a great situation for him. They have a lot of depth there. Bringing back Santi Aldama was great bit of business. I really like everything they've done. Are they championship contenders? The answer is probably no, right? They've taken an overall step back in terms of talent, but they've added assets. They've gotten good players on reasonable contracts. Talk to me in a year or two. I'm pretty excited about where they're going.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a very, very, very good regular season team. Now, you see their starting 5. I think it's a very solid starting 5. But what made the Grizzlies really good last year was their depth and their bench. They went to their bench, and it was like sometimes you go to teams' bench, it's like this massive fall off. They had an outstanding bench. They shared the ball. Aldama's a guy that I think is going to be fantastic. When Aldama's coming off your bench, you have a really good squad. I think they need another wing scorer. I thought if Kevin Durant looked at all the teams in the NBA, Houston would be 1. I thought Memphis would be 2.